Hello, my name is Carter Kirchhevel, and I have a show called Catching Up with Carter on Thursdays from 10 to 11 a.m. on Saddleback College Radio 88.5 HD2. Check out and subscribe down below if you'd like to see more recordings of this show and to see my NFL and college football takes.
Did you miss your football games this week? Do you need to catch up? Welcome to Catching Up with Carter here on Saddleback College Radio. Thursdays at 10, he will recap it all.
Hello, my name is Carter Kirchhevel, and you're listening here at 88.5 HD2 Saddleback College Radio, and we are here to talk about football. So welcome to Catching Up with Carter, where we recap all Los Angeles sports. We will cover the Rams, Chargers, Raiders, and 49ers games, and for college, we will cover USC, UCLA, and of course, Saddleback College football. In just a minute, we're going to start to go over all of these amazing football games that are starting up. The NFL season starts in just a week, so we will be right back after this short break.
Rams, Chargers, 49ers, Raiders, USC, UCLA, and of course, Saddleback football. He covers it all. It's Carter Kirchhevel, your Saddleback student sports voice.
Hello and welcome back. We are starting off with the NFL, and before this, we were listening to Still Dre by Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and DNA by Kendrick Lamar, and you're listening on 88.5 KSBR HD2 Saddleback College Radio, and we're going to first talk about the NFL here as we're getting into the season. Sunday's the start, so we're going to start off with the Los Angeles Rams as we get into it. As you heard for that little intro, we're starting on the Rams, and we have a big game. Sunday Night Football. Late slot for the Rams as they play the Lions, and they're going to be playing over at Ford Field. It's going to be a very exciting game. I think this is going to be the closest game of the weekend, Sunday Night Football. And my prediction for this game is going to be 24-21 with the Lions winning. I apologize to Los Angeles Rams fans this week. I don't see it happening. I love the Rams this year. I think they're going to be an amazing team, a great contender for all of the NFC West opponents. I just don't see it happening this time. Last time they played the Lions, they lost by 1 point, 24-23 in the playoffs. I think the Lions have made a great move in this offseason, just with all of their momentum. They've got Dan Campbell coaching for them. Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to have a breakout season. Puka was injured, and so I just can see it being a little bit of a struggle at the beginning of the season for the LA Rams. Also, going with news on this team, Puka Nacua, Darius Williams, and Jonah Jackson are expected to be ready to go for week 1 against the Lions, which I think will be great for the Rams, of course. And with Kupp back, this offense looks stacked. They've got Kyren, Puka, Kupp, Stafford. Who are they missing? And it's on the defensive side. I see a struggle happening with Aaron Donald on that defensive side for the Rams. That defense is going to have a hole because of him being gone. They just traded away linebacker Ernest Jones, who played for the Rams and now is going to be a Titan. I think it's going to be a little bit of a struggle for the Rams this first week. Moving on to our next team here, we're going to start up with the Chargers. Just giving a little bit of fun there for the Chargers as we bolt up for this season as they play the Raiders, another team we're going to be talking about in a minute. This game looks like it's going to be a crapshoot. This is a tough game for both these teams as they are both struggling organizations. I love Justin Herbert, though. That is the one thing, and that's the reason I'm going to choose for the Los Angeles Chargers that they are going to win this week. I have them winning 20-13. I love Gardner Minshew for the Raiders. I think he's a great choice, way better than Jimmy Garoppolo, but I just don't see it happening this time. I like Jim Harbaugh for their team. The defense was looking great for the Chargers in their final preseason game as they played the Cowboys. I know they had Trey Lance in, but still, 5 interceptions from that defense, I think is a great sign for them. There is some different news that happened to the Chargers just last week. A little bit of a funny news story is that Herbert and other stars in the team got stuck in an elevator 2 hours before this last game. A little bit of a mishap on the Los Angeles Chargers side that all of their star players were stuck in an elevator for hours. That was pretty hilarious to see. But another player that a lot of people need to start talking about, and he isn't going to be talked about much, is Tony Jefferson. Tony Jefferson is a new up-and-coming star, and after a great performance against the Cowboys, where he registered 14 total tackles, to go along with 2 interceptions, a forced fumble, and a sack, he is going to be used by Jim Harbaugh. Harbaugh is going to love that type of talent on his team. So that's what I'm going to be going with, is 20-13 Chargers. And we're going to move in a little bit more into the Raiders.
Raider Nation, stand up!
And so for the Raiders, going into that, I think there's too many question marks for them. I do love their thought of getting Gardner Minshew. I love Davante Adams on the offensive side. I love Max Crosby. I love everything about this team. I love Antonio Pierce. I just don't see Gardner Minshew getting the system going the first week. There's too many question marks. The other thing that a lot of people were kind of talking about was that O'Connell, he had decent momentum, but just he doesn't have the experience that Gardner Minshew has. So that's why I believe Antonio Pierce went a different direction and decided, okay, I'm going to go with Gardner Minshew, who's going to put up some good numbers for me. And so that's why I believe they went with him. I know that a lot of people are going to be disappointed in that and thinking, hey, I think Aiden O'Connell should be the starter because he had a good connection with Davante Adams. I just don't see why we wouldn't put Gardner Minshew in. Last year, he went almost to the playoffs with a Colts team who was not even close to the playoffs like a few years earlier. And so he took a team, even after Anthony Richardson got hurt, and did a great job bringing that team to basically one game away. Lost to C.J. Stroud, a top 5 QB, arguably. So that's why I believe that they're going to be a great team this year. I think that AFC West lineup with the Raiders, Broncos, Chiefs, and Chargers is going to be very interesting to watch. But I believe the Raiders this week are going to take the L. And now we're going to go into the San Francisco 49ers.
Bang, Niner gang. Bang, bang, Niner gang. Bang, bang, Niner gang.
And for the Niners, I know that it's going to be a little bit of a shocker, but I'm saying it's going to be a week 1 L this week. There's too many question marks still around all of the players for the 49ers right now. These contracts finally just got restructured as Brandon Ayuk got an $120 million deal for 4 years, and Trent Williams got his restructured deal. But I just see a final score. I think 28-17 is what I'm going to go with. I think we see Rodgers. He had a really, really bad year last year after having one play basically and was out for the rest of the year. His best play was running out on the field with an American flag, which is crazy to me. But still, Rodgers is going to come out firing. I think Garrett Wilson and his connection is going to be amazing this first week. As a 49ers fan myself, we usually struggle in week 1. Last year, it was a different story, but I just don't see it happening this week as it is Monday Night Football. It's going to be a struggle. And going into some of this news here, thankfully, Brandon Ayuk and Trent Williams were signed, but going on those deals, $120 million is CeeDee Lamb level amount of money, same as Justin Jefferson. It is a crazy amount of money. Trent Williams, going into his contract, reading it here, he got a 3-year, $82.66 million package deal with $48 million in updated guarantees and $25.69 million on his signing bonus. Crazy amounts of money coming out of the 49ers pockets. I think they're going to have a struggle next season trying to pay the rest of their guys. Also, if you didn't hear, Ricky Pearsall got shot last week. It was very, very sad for the 49ers, but he has already been in the weight room. He is a fighter out there. He got shot in the chest, and now he is all right. It went right through him, which is crazy after a robbery attempt. And so I think this team, there's too many question marks. I love Ricky Pearsall. I think he's going to be back by week 4, week 5. And so this team, it's going to be a difference. I think it's going to have a different story for them. I do like the 49ers. I like all of these teams. I think the 49ers, I think the Raiders, the Chargers, and the Rams all have a great season ahead of them, but I just don't see it happening this time for a lot of these teams, for the Niners specifically. So that'll be the end of our NFL segment, and next we're going to listen to Drop It Like It's Hot by Snoop Dogg. You're listening on 88.5 KSBR HD2 Saddleback College Radio. Welcome back to 88.5 KSBR HD2. My name is Carter Kirchhevel, and you're listening to Catching Up with Carter here on Saddleback College Radio. And we're going to be going into college football, where we cover USC, UCLA, and of course, Saddleback College football. So we're going to be starting with USC. And we're first starting with a win for USC as they won 27-20 against LSU. And we're going to recap this game here with starting from drive to drive and how this game ended on a great interception from USC. So we're going to start off. LSU drove down all the way down, and then they got stuffed in the red zone on 4th and goal after a great blitz on Nussmeier, which means that USC was showing promise on the defensive side. For the first time in years, it feels like we've got something going. After UCLA's defensive coordinator is now at USC, it's seeming like we've got some more energy. And for the tough first drive for Miller, USC right away, they had a tough first drive, but Miller, he was showing promise, and the defense was showing great energy and toughness, stuffing LSU on another drive. Then there was pass interference called on USC, and they went all the way down to the 2-yard line, and USC scores off a run from Woody Marks. You'll hear his name more, and it starts off 7-0. Then for LSU, they drove all the way down the field, and Lacey scored an insane jump touchdown to bring the game to a tie off of a fake wide receiver screen. An amazing play. If you go rewatch those highlights, it was an awesome play to see. They faked the wide receiver screen to their number 1 wide receiver, and Lacey, he slipped out, got behind the safety, and got a touchdown for LSU, tying the game 7-7. Then Branch almost had a kickoff return against LSU, but the kicker saved a touchdown. After that, there was a good drive, but after many penalties, they only got a field goal, which brought the lead to 10-7 for USC. Then after a decent drive from Nussmeier, they got a field goal and tied at 10 each. Then at the end of half, USC drove all the way down the field, had an amazing start, and then ended up shanking a field goal to the right, not getting any points, leaving the game 10-10 at halftime, which is an awesome thing to see for this game, as we thought that this was going to be one of those high-scoring games. We saw the defense show out today. Then USC, after half, they drove down and make a field goal. Instead of missing, they made this one and brought the lead to 13-10. Then LSU answered back with a touchdown of their own, then bringing the score to 17-13. Then USC struggles and has to punt, but USC's defense, they get the ball after getting a stop on 4th down in opponent territory and forcing a punt and a long pass touchdown on a free play off of an offsides on the defense. They take the lead 20-17. LSU then goes all the way down the field. They get it back to 20-20 with a field goal inside 2 minutes remaining. It all comes down to this. USC has the ball. They can go down, score a touchdown to bring the game basically to a close. With about 30 seconds left, Woody Marks gets a game-winning run for a touchdown after a huge play to the left side of the field on a great pass from Miller Moss all the way down the left side. Got a targeting call, which brought it down to the 5-yard line. Woody Marks runs it in for a touchdown, and guess who throws an interception but Neusmeyer, the junior. He seals the game for USC after throwing the ball right into their hands, and that is the first win for USC. They move up to the 13th rank in the AP Top 25. An amazing move for USC. They had a great first game. Now moving into UCLA. Now, although you might be saying, UCLA got the win. They won 16-13. You might be saying, Carter, why are you going to be negative on UCLA? Well, if you watch the game like I did, this was devastating. So we'll start off right away with Garbers as he struggled on the first drive. He did have a good read option showing that he could run the football, but just not a good first drive. Then Hawaii has a play of the year off a fake punt, getting 35 yards down the field and getting a touchdown off of it, off a miscommunication on defense. This is just awful start for UCLA, starting 7-0 as the Warriors, the Hawaii Warriors, begin that lead of 7-0. Then after, Shaw has an early connection with Garbers, bringing it all the way down the field for UCLA, but it ends up that Garbers throws an interception, leaving the lead 7-0. Then, trying to get points on the board, they decided to kick a long field goal to try and get some points, but kicked it wide right at halftime, leaving that score 7-0. Then Hawaii drives down the field again, gets a field goal, bringing it to 10-0. And you might be thinking, what's going on? Why is UCLA playing bad? Well, third quarter comes along, and UCLA, with a 39-yard touchdown throw, brings the game to 7-10. So we're looking at this and we're going, okay, here's some momentum. How did it get to 16-13? Then both teams just went back and forth, over and over and over again, getting field goal after field goal, and it ended up that UCLA, even with that missed field goal in the first half, wins the game 16-13. Now, you might be saying, great job, Deshaun Foster. You got the win even though it was scrappy. I don't believe this is very good for UCLA. They looked awful. I mean awful. Garbers played the worst game of his life. And UCLA's defense looked horrible against this non-conference opponent. I don't think this is anything to be happy about on the UCLA side. Now moving into Saddleback College football, of course, the first game is on September 7th. It's this weekend. It's 2 days away. For Saddleback, 22 players signed this year to play on another four-year university. A great thing for our program here, but it could create a hole for this Saddleback football team. The last time they played against Ventura, which they're playing on September 7th at Ventura, they lost 42-37, looking like what we predicted the USC-LSU game to be, but it did not turn out that way. Ended up that the USC-LSU game was a lot closer than we thought. But for this Saddleback College football, we're hoping that we get a better record than last year, as they struggled with a 3-7 season, but we're hoping for great things. This was your college football update from Carter Kirchhevel here on Saddleback College Radio. Next, we are going to be listening to Game Time by Flo Rida. You're listening here on 88.5 KSBR HD2 Saddleback College Radio. Hello and welcome back to Catching Up with Carter here on Saddleback College Radio, 88.5 HD2 KSBR. We are going to look into all of the matchups for the NFL this weekend. We went through 4 of them already. Of course, we went through the Rams, the Chargers, the 49ers, and the Raiders, but we got to go through the rest. So we're going to start off with a game that is happening tonight. It is Ravens Chiefs. News for this game, Hollywood Brown is going to be out for week 1 for the Chiefs. So this looks like this is all in the Ravens' favor. It is Ravens all the way. That is my prediction for this game, 28-17 Ravens. They are going to get back at the Chiefs for beating them last year in that AFC Championship game. The Chiefs, of course, I still think are going to be an easy Super Bowl contender for this season, but I do see that the Ravens are going to take it this time as MVP Lamar is going to step it up. Moving into the next game, it's Packers-Eagles, which is happening on Friday. That's happening in Germany, a very exciting game. But news for this one, Bradbury for the Eagles is out for 6 to 8 weeks, and not 68, 6 to 8 weeks. And for the Packers, A.J. Dillon is out for this season. So this is going to be, both sides are missing a key component for their team. I think this is going to be one of those interesting games. I think the Packers are a great contender in the NFC, Eagles same, but the Eagles had a very big struggle last season, and the Packers the opposite. Packers struggled at the beginning, Eagles struggled at the end. So I do believe that this is going to be the Eagles 31-24. I think it'll be high scoring, but I think the Eagles are going to get off on the right foot and get some momentum going at the beginning of the year. Even with the loss of Jason Kelce and multiple other players, I do believe that the Packers are not going to pull it out this time, and the Eagles are going to do it. Jalen Hurts, he's got everything in his arsenal. He's got A.J. Brown, he's got Saquon Barkley, who just got traded from the New York Giants. I think this is Eagles all the way, 31-24. Then moving into the Sunday lineup, of course, watch your games on Saturday. Watch USC, watch UCLA, and of course, Saddleback College football for college, but NFL's on Sunday. So, Sunday, September 8th, starting 10 a.m., Steelers, Falcons. Both of these teams, it's going to be interesting. The Steelers, they've got a new quarterback, Russell Wilson. They also have Justin Fields as a backup. And for the Falcons, a brand new QB as well, Kirk Cousins. I think Falcons are going to take this one. I think it's going to be a little bit more low scoring in the sense that the Steelers have a great defense with TJ Watt. I think the Falcons take it 21-14. I like the Falcons. Do not get me wrong. I think that they're a very, very good team. I think with Kirk Cousins, with Kyle Pitts, with Drake London, and with Bijan Robinson, there's nothing that's stopping them this season. And don't get me wrong, the Steelers, they're still going to have a great season with TJ Watt if he stays healthy. Moving into the next game, 10 a.m., Cardinals, Bills. Now your prediction is probably going to get you to say, but I do think that it's going to be upset of the week here. Cardinals winning 24-21. Now let that sink in. I think the Cardinals, Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr., James Conner, I think this team is built to beat a team like the Bills. I think the Bills have a struggling roster as they don't have any receiving talent except for Dalton Kincaid, and Josh Allen, of course, is going to run the ball all on his own, but I think that's what's going to happen. I think it's going to be Cardinals 24 and the Bills 21. Also, the last time this team played, it was a very exciting game. I believe this was back during COVID in 2020 when DeAndre Hopkins got a Hail Mary catch to beat the Bills at home. I think this is going to be one of those same type of games where it's going to be the Cardinals winning in a last-second field goal type of situation. I think this is going to be your upset of the week for NFL matchups. Now moving into the next one, 10 a.m. The next 10 a.m. game is Titans-Bears. Bears. Caleb Williams, DJ Moore, they've got everything you want. DJ Moore, Rumo Dunze, Keenan Allen, they're going to win this one 14-10. I know that's lower scoring, but I think it's going to start off a little slow for Chicago. I think they're still going to have a great season. I think the NFC North is going to be very stacked this year with the sense that Caleb Williams is going to be just as good as everyone thinks he's going to be. So I believe 14-10. I think the Titans are still trying to figure things out with Will Levis, the Mayo guy. It's very weird to say that, but he is the Mayo guy. So I do believe that the Bears will take this one 14-10. Now going into the next matchup, news for the game is going to be that Brissett is the starter for the Patriots. The matchup is the Patriots and Bengals at 10 a.m. Jacoby Brissett is starting. I think that is ridiculous to me. I think Drake May should be the starter for the Patriots, but Jacoby Brissett, he's going to start. I get it. He has the experience, but it's not going to be enough to beat the Bengals. I think fantasy football key of the week is Bengals defense. I think the Bengals are going to crush the crap out of the Patriots. I think 28-7 Bengals for that 10 a.m. Next game is Texans Colts at 10, and I believe that the Texans are going to take this one, but by a closer margin than most people would think. I think the Texans, they are going to win 21-14. I know that is a closer game than most people are going to believe it's going to be, but I believe it's going to be closer, and the reason I say this is because the Colts have momentum. They do. Anthony Richardson is back. He did have some struggles passing the football during preseason, but that's not his strength. His strength is running. His strength is Lamar Jackson style. So I believe that it's going to be closer. I still think the Texans will take it with all of their offseason moves in Joe Mixon, Stephon Diggs, but Texans, they'll only win by a touchdown. Next game, Jaguars, Dolphins. Now this one, another fantasy football key. I think the Dolphins defense is a good pick for this week. Of course, play Tyreek Hill, play Jalen Waddle, play those offensive guys. I think Achane, same thing. I don't think the Jaguars are going to be able to stop this offense. I think 31-10 Miami. They're going to crush the wheels off of the Jaguars. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is going to have a good first game back. I don't see it happening. I see the Dolphins winning this one by a big margin of 21. Moving into our last two games at the 10 a.m. slot, Panthers-Saints. This is another one of those games you're like, you can just skip it out. If you have red zone, I would even just, if that game pops up, just tune away. Don't even look at it because this game is going to be horrible. I don't think the Saints have anything new that's going to happen for their roster. Derek Carr is the same as always, just average. And so Panthers-Saints, I think Saints will take it 10-7. I know that's a low-scoring game. I think it'll be like the Raiders and Vikings last season where the ending was 3-0, but I think a little bit worse in the sense of that I don't think those touchdowns will be coming off of offensive plays, maybe defense off of interceptions. So maybe looking into one of those defenses too for your fantasy. Maybe the Saints defense might be a good option off of an interception from Bryce Young. Moving into the last 10 a.m. game, Vikings Giants. Now, the Vikings and Giants are both teams that are struggling at the QB position as the Vikings have Sam Darnold. The Giants have Daniel Jones. The Giants are just a way worse roster. They don't have anything on offense. All they have is Malik Neighbors. Daniel Jones is very mid. I think Brian Dable is going to have a struggle this year trying to bring this team to even 5 wins. I think the Vikings are in the same situation with Sam Darnold, though. I think Justin Jefferson is going to have to carry the weight for this roster. And as well, with the loss of their running backs, I just think Aaron Jones is going to be okay, maybe below average. I don't think he's going to be better than average for them. I do like Ty Chandler, though. I think he is going to be a dark horse running back in fantasy football, so look for that later in the season when Aaron Jones gets less of the workload. Moving into the 105 slot, Broncos, Seahawks. Now, of course, this is the game where we thought last year Russell Wilson, of course, was on the Broncos, but now this is a different story with Bo Nix for the Broncos. I believe this is going to be an easier win for Seattle, but I think they'll give up some touchdowns. I think 24-14 Seahawks is going to be your final score. I don't really like Bo Nix. I think he's going to be okay this year. I don't think he's going to be anything special. I think Geno Smith and that offense with DK Metcalf is going to do a better job than the Broncos are. Moving to the next game is Cowboys-Browns. Now I call them the Cowgirls, but we'll say Cowboys on this show. The Cowboys, I think, are going to crush 30-14. I think they're going to have a great game against the Browns. I don't think the Browns are going to do much better. Deshaun Watson's great, but he's just had some issues these last few years and not played the same. So I believe the Cowboys will take it this time 30-14. I believe that Dak Prescott is an amazing regular season quarterback. I really wish that he was a good playoff quarterback. I love the guy. He is a great dude. So I'm hoping that they get a good start to their year 30-14. Moving into the next 125 is going to be Commanders-Bucks, and that'll be the last game for our NFL season, or not NFL season, NFL Week 1, my apologies. And that game, I think, is going to be a little bit of a weird matchup as Jaden Daniels is for the Commanders and the Bucs still have Baker Mayfield. I do believe that the Buccaneers are going to take this one. I think 21-14. The Commanders just don't have a line. They don't have an offensive line. Jaden Daniels is going to be running for his life. So I believe that Jaden Daniels, he'll be the guy later in the season once he gets to figure out this offense, because with Austin Eckler, he's going to have a little bit more receiving talent. He has Terry McLaurin, but I don't see it happening this time. I just see the Bucs. They've got a great defense. They've got great safeties, great corners, great defensive line. They allowed one of the fewest rushing yards for running backs. And so I think it'll be the same type of opportunity or type of game for Jaden Daniels, as he's not going to be able to run as much in this game as he probably hopes. That is our NFL recap. Next, we're going to be listening to All Right by Kendrick Lamar. Thank you for listening to Catching Up with Carter here on 88.5 KSBR HD2 Saddleback College Radio. Hello and welcome back to Catching Up with Carter here on 88.5 KSBR HD2 Saddleback College Radio. My name is Carter Kirchhevel. And to close, thank you so much for listening to this week's sports takes, sports updates, and of course, Saddleback College football updates and scores. And so for next week's show, we'll be going over all of the NFL matchups, of course, for your Rams, Chargers, Niners, and Raiders, and we will go over that game that happened against Ventura for Saddleback tonight. Make sure to check into that game against the Ravens and Chiefs. Be very exciting, and we will see you next time. Again, my name is Carter Kirchhevel. You're listening here on 88.5 HD2 KSBR Saddleback College Radio.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.